Harry, we are back with a haul video. A big haul video here. Was going to come back with one of these or New Thunderbolts 1, but I still haven't found my copy of that, so all it is. Got this Captain America toy, the Marvel Legends 20th anniversary Captain America. I am going to upset some people by tearing it out of its box. And that, my friends, is how you remove the figure from the box without destroying the packaging. If a spastic like me can do it, there's no reason you can't. But I don't give a fuck about the packaging. There's the figure in its tray. It's alright. I don't like that his shield has holes in it for the effect pieces that I am never going to use. And I don't like that he's about the same size as us agents. However, you can use the hands from this Captain America on the Us Agent figure, so I can get him saluting. You can also put the Steve Rogers head on the Us Agent figure and have the Captain. Look at the size difference between their shields though. It's annoying. It's not a great figure, but it's probably the best Captain America that they will ever make. On to the comics. Since it is such a large pile, I am going to try and be quite brief. There's maybe 2 comics in this pile that require more than 30 seconds of discussion. The rest I can do quickly. I have got some Alpha Strikes filling in the gaps in Jason Byrne's run. Here is issue 5. The Warwick Davis-centric issue. Issue 12. Don't get too attached to Gladiator. Issue 18. Issue 21. The second part of that 2-parter with the Fantastic Force enemy, Devil. Pretty poor cover offering here by Jason Byrne. Issues 25, 26, 27 and 28, which ties in with Secret Wars, aye. The Dark Gladiator saga, the Delphine Courtney saga, the Omega Strike saga, whatever you want to call it. This is also Jason Byrne's finale on the series. We have a few of these comics that technically break my no new Marvel stance. This is a Daredevil annual from however many years ago. They got Slums Mackenzie back to write one of the secondary stories. Cover here is by Ron Lee. I think it is a variant. And I don't know why they put Daredevil back in his Shadowplay costume, but also put him back in that costume and made it look worse. I got this because that introduction from Slums Mackenzie to his story, it was cute. It's like when Short Round won an Oscar, but with different people. Now we've got a big dump of issues here. Black Stars. This was a series in the 90s. It was very loosely connected to Green Lanterns. It was another space police force. Later in the series, both Donatello from the Tiny Titans and then Alvin Stewart from Green Lanterns, they became Black Stars. I have the first 22 issues and some others. I'll quickly show them individually. This is the first issue, issue 2, 3, 4, 5, with a guest appearance from Stephen Orkman and Orkin Girl. Issue 6, 7 here, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, issue 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, featuring the Flask, 19 with a David Allen's cover. There might be some issues of the Flask that I need to get that tie in with this. I don't know. Issue 20, 21, and then 22. Jumping ahead to issue 25. This is issue 0, which is the one where Alvin Stewart joins the Black Stars. And then 28, that is Donatello on the cover. And I believe that is Mine Ion from that Tiny Titans run. Issue 29. And finally 33. I got these because I was interested in the series. And I had about 4 or 5 issues already as part of my Tiny Titans collection. This here is a 2-part crossover called Trinity, starring the Black Stars, Green Lanterns, and the Imperial Guards. More on them later. I don't think anyone has ever sought out an issue of this series, but here I am. This is Taylor Swift 32. Awful Bill son of a bitch cover. This issue has Moonstomp and Darkout from New Thunderbells in it. It is also a fill-in written by Mike Carlsberg. And I wanted to see how different his writing is without Marky Mark G editing. His main writing credits are both comics edited by Marky Mark, and especially the Captain Americas. You can see Marky Mark is writing quite a lot of it. They swapped roles on Captain America because of that. They would have been co-writers, I think, but writer-editors were banned by Jimothy Shooter, so Marky Mark wasn't allowed to credit himself as writer. You see that on Spider-Man too, with Roy Sternman, Tom Falcon and Christopher Proust. Tom Falcon, he switches back and forth between editing the book, writing the book, and then editing the book again. I got the Flask 31, which I already had. This was a mistake. This time I also got 32, which I needed, and 33, which I needed, and it has a pretty nifty cover here. Plugging it all in my Green Lanterns collection. This is issue 126. This means I have a pretty decent unbroken chunk of issues from a year or two. This would be when that streak ends. 136. I think I have 121 through to this. Calypso is in this issue. I like Calypso. The idiocy doesn't stop with me getting the Flask 31. I also got Convergence's Green Lanterns, issues 1 and 2. People seemed to want me to review more of this guy's work. And it really is just this, and Darkstar and the Winter Guardian. I did give my copy of issue 1 away to Darth Knight, so I have replaced it pretty quickly. Maybe I should have included this with Alpha Strike. This is Hulk Annual 8, guest appearance by Bigfoot. It is written by Roy Sternman and drawn by Jason Byrne. I have amazingly never read this before, and I am really excited. Iron Man 159. This was a random buy. I think this would be Neil or Dennis Wrighton. The cover by Hot Water Comedy's very own Paul Smith grabbed me. And the bad guy is again Devil. Another Iron Man comic here. Wait, what? Huh? What you on about? This is Marvel Premiere 44, starring Ace of Spades. And this ties in with Bill Bungalow's run on Iron Man. This is where Ace of Spades gangs after he leaves in issue 113. I still need a Marvel 2-for-1, Iron Man Annual 4, and Iron Man 116 to say that I have all of Bill Bungalow's run on Iron Man. But I am content with what I have. Justice Society of Superheroes vs. Hydra. This is a 6-issue miniseries concurrent with John Jeffries' crappy run. But I heard tell this was a pretty good Mr. Terrificals story. And I do like Mr. Terrificals, this version. He is surprisingly a very rich character. Quickly, I will show each cover. This is 1, issue 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. There are a few books in here that are books that in the past I swore I would never ever get. Books that I saw or books I knew about where the natural response is, I am never ganning to be so far down the rabbit hole. I get that. Justice League Task Force. This is a pile of shit. It is a Martin Quaid 90s thing. It's crap Justice League with fucking Desperado as a gun-toting hero and Trump and jackets. And Martin Quaid only wrote like 4 issues of it before fucking off and getting an equally as rubbish writer like Christopher Proust to fill his chair. With all that said though, Pratt's son is in this issue. He is on the cover. It is a decent cover of Pratt's son. I unfortunately needed this, and then there is the next issue, issue 26, and Pratt's son is in this as well. This one does have one thing making it a tad more desirable. This issue is drawn by Sam Chang, the great Sam Chang. The cover isn't by him, and the cover has Desperado is like my favourite DC villain, and this is painful to me. One of the problems with this all is that there are little pockets where I have focused on things. We had all those black stars, which I got through quicker than I thought I would. But then we have this, which is going to take some time. I have gotten about 30 random Imperial Guard comics. Starting with this one, feel free to count them yourselves to see if my guess of 30 was correct. I bet I am off by 1. I am always off by 1. Right, this is Imperial Guard 293. I have the issue after this, and it's meant to be like the best Imperial Guard story ever. And I got this because I didn't want it to be the case that I read that issue and didn't get it or like it, and then people going, yeah, but you are meant to read the issues before it as well. So that's why I got this. Good cover. Actually, the covers were the main thing that had me pick out a lot of these issues. They nearly all have good covers, or sexy women on the cover. This is issue 303. This is 342. It announces a new beginning. So I assumed this would be a jumping on point. So if it's not, I am going to criticise the L out of this. But because of that, I got a few issues around it, like 346 with the sexy woman, 349, and you can see a story sort of taking shape in these covers. 350, milestone issue, and 351. I fancy the green one. Here is an annual number 3. And the good news is it is not that one annual that I have like 7 copies of somehow. The series was relaunched. We have a few different Imperial Guard books here, so the numbers are all over the place. This is issue 43 from 1988. I got it because it is a tie-in to the It crossover Millennium. There was another tie-in issue I wanted to get for that reason, but couldn't find a copy. The numberings and different series is confusing, but this is annual 1, which comes after annual 3. This cover, I cannot be alone here. This is the exact same cover as Suicide Squad number 1. They did a copy and paste with this cover. Suicide Squad 1 flat out copies this. Another relaunch to confuse us. This is issue 1 of the 1989 series. Surely a jumping on point. And then several years later, we have issue 100 of that. And it has a fold-out cover. Very thick, this one. I really only got this because Electric Superman is there on the cover. Annuals. And this one definitely wasn't because of the cover. This is an annual telling this character, Gladiator, it tells his origin. Stories like this are helpful to me since I barely understand Imperial Guard most the time. Guardians issue 1. I love this cover. It is not a great cover, but just the style and the colourfulness and the look of it. This is exactly what would grab me. I want to love this just because I appreciate this cover so much. It came with a free trading card. Someone did tell me this is actually a very good starting point with Imperial Guard. And that all you have to know is that Earth was destroyed. Just a little thing like that. You know, Earth. It was destroyed. Seriously, this cover, I don't think it will ever feature on a covers video, but this is a massive appealing cover to me. So is this, for different reasons. Guardians issue 16, written by Martin Quaid. I didn't catch that when I was browsing. I was too busy looking at another part of the cover. Shit, I didn't want this video to be really long, but I'm really only at the halfway point now. I guess these Imperial Guard comics are the ones I have to talk about somewhat. This one I got because I noticed Roy Sternman's name on the cover, and this was 1996, so this will be just before he started to write like Kurt Busey. Spin-off time. Imperial Guard. G-U-A-R-D. For someone who struggles with Imperial Guard comics, I think I actually understand G.U.A.R.D. and their connection to Imperial Guard more than most. This spins out of Evasion. It is a team in the then present day DC universe with ties to what eventually becomes the Imperial Guard in the 30th century. One of those ties is Invisible Girl. She ends up time traveling back to join this team. This is issue 9, and that one before was issue 1. Another link is a Gladiator. Again, time travel is involved. This is issue 16, and this is 17. And I think I have a whole story arc here with these 2 issues, and then issue 18. A lot of these I got because of the covers. Keith Magoo covers. Some excellent stuff. Issue 27. I liked the cover, or I thought I liked the cover, but now I am not so sure. And finally, 63. And this series lasted as long as it did because it was milking Lunatic, a character I have zero interest in, but he would seem to fight Superman in this. Reshuffling it a bit to bring these forward. G.U.A.R.D. was relaunched as hold on, I need to remember. There was a subset of the Marvel team in War of Kings. P-R-A-A-T-O-R-I-A-N-S. This is issue 1. It is a continuation of G.U.A.R.D., but Martin Quaid wanted to jettison any connection to Imperial Guard. So we have this. It was written by Martin Quaid's friend, and it was cancelled within a year. Then, in 2009, they brought G.U.A.R.D. back, but again under the name P-R-A-E-T-O-R-I-A-N-S. And I am interested in this 4-issue miniseries here called Legends of the Imperial Guard. I think these are basically like that one issue I had for all those years. These are spotlights on the individual characters and their backstories. Smasher in issue 1. I think this is one of the ones without a Marvel equivalent, but maybe I can just say Flashfire again. Nightside in issue 3. The final issue should be interesting because it is a retelling of Neutron's backstory, and that is the backstory I know the most. This is a Supergirl annual, which I am grouping in with the Imperial Guard comics because it is about her and mentor and romance. I have all the Marvel Andy books ever published. Every version, every printing, I have them all. Except this volume. The 90 series, which completely retooled and reduced the idea. I wanted at least one issue. I want to look at the change in format and talk about the good and the bad things about this version before they announce an omnibus. A lot of these are actually very hard to come by because any pages have been torn out of unsealed copies, and stuff like the cover aren't even attached to them. The cover is printed on, like, the shittiest piece of paper ever. The rest is all on, like, cards. Erection Man 2 only got this because it overlaps with Justice League 5, Electric Superman, etc. Now I think I have everything needed to continue covering Electric Superman only 2 years after the last video on it. Dude, this is a series that will, like, totally change your life. This is Starman. There's a 4-part story with Sandman, and that is all I wanted it for. Part 1 is in Starman 20, Part 2 in 21, 3 in 22, and it finishes in 23. I probably should have put this right at the back with all the stuff I consider free giveaways and bonuses. Starman 28. This was sent instead of Starman 20 originally. They sent the correct issue out, and I have this one for free, basically. This is surprisingly a pretty cheap key issue I got. The first appearance of Red Guardian in Tiny Titans 18 from 1968. Chances of this falling apart the minute I open it are astronomical. Issue 44 from a few years later. Light Master issue. And I also want to talk about McDonald's becoming Gladiator whenever I review it. Random issue of Mark Wolfenstein and Jorge Perez Tiny Titans that I got cheap. This is issue 14. Issue 26. The actual first appearance of Geodude's sister, Geodudette. Issue 29. Filling it all in between ones I have. Issue 36. I got this because the team look great on the cover and Geodudette is with them. If you cropped the image and added Red Arrow, this would be a go-to picture of the team for me. Since I have the final part of the story, I got it surprisingly cheap about a year or two ago. I thought I'll get all of this story. It's meant to be the best Tiny Titans story. This is part 1 in issue 42, and part 2 in 43, and I kind get part 3 because that is the issue they say is worth £100 million. Tales of the Tiny Titans 80. I do understand the renaming and the concurrent Tiny Titans titles. I got this because I like the cover. Same with this issue. Tales of the Tiny Titans, issue 91, which is actually the last issue of Tales of the Tiny Titans. It's also one of countless homages to Keith Magoo's Justice League cover. Tiny Titans Spotlight 16 and 17, and I fuck all about Thunder and Lightning, but I am keen on Magneta, Willie West's crazy ex-girlfriend. Much like Justice League Task Force, I have definitely thought to myself in the past the definitive statement: I will never ever buy an issue of Team Titans. Shame on me. Shame on DC for doing a book called Team Titans. Shame on Morbius for being re-released to cinemas and flopping a second time. I expect this to be utter crap, and deserving of my naive belief that I would never ever buy an issue of it. Geodudette is on it, and I also have issue 6, which has her on the cover, I'm not proud of getting these. On to our final purchases, which are excellent men ones. We have a 3-part Excalibur story here that I have never read. It has never been collected either. Issues number 68, 69, and then issue 70. These follow David Allen's run and seem to mainly get rid of most of the extra characters he brought into the title. And before we move on to the enormous amount of comics I got as freebies, here is a new part of these all videos. One that is unlikely to occur that often. I have gotten a mystery comic. To find out what it is, you have to watch my next covers video. This is a comic I admired the cover of for a few years now, but I was always reluctant to get it because I have my no new Marvel rule, and I did not want to in any way support this direction. It is a really fucking good cover. It is a variant cover that has nothing to do with the actual comic too. And it was on sale for a price where it felt like it was the time to get it. Now we have a bunch of stray comics sent, packed in with orders, or offered as some form of compensation for the person not actually sending the Sand Superman comic I ordered, or not having Imperial Guard 119. Nothing great. We have Heroes Reborn, Avengers. These used to be the go-to for extra pack-ins. Nobody really wanted them. Solo Avengers / Avengers Spotlight 7. A series I don't care for, but a good cover on this one. New Warriors 38. This reminds me that I should be unboxing the New Warriors Omnibus soonish. And I guess this has just become the de facto issue that I will look at afterwards. L.E.G.I.O.N. I have no idea what this is. Sometimes the comics they give away for free are like this. I have no idea what they are. L.E.G.I.O.N is a terrible name for a hero. Someone wants to punish me with this one. For Secret Evasion issue 1, and is this a Simon Bianca cover? I looked it up, it's not. It is a decent cover, I reckon, and if it was by Simon Bianca, I would finally have a 5th cover for my Covers by Artists I Ate themed covers video. Replacing Heroes Reborn in the Comics People Give Away category is almost anything from Ultimated Marvel. It's nearly all worthless tat now. And I got multiple Ultimated comics thrown in. This one here I have actually read before. An Excalibur issue, a fill-in, I've read it. I actually didn't have it though. Already had this though, Extra Factors Forever 2. I should and will review this series eventually. I want to. Here is why Simon Bianca was on me mind. A comic I ate. And seeing I ate it will have people dislike the video. And the last one is issue 4 of some Excellent Men 90s nostalgia bits. Good cover, maybe. You decide. Son of Nimrod's Big Haul for March 2023 is over now. What comics have I shown would you like me to look at? I tend to go through the 3 bonus ones first, because they are unexpected and feel like something different from my channel. Though this time around, they didn't feel like that because they're mostly all Ultimated Marvel books. I will end this one with 7 thumbs up.